It's your girls Z and Sin, and today we're back with another video. And today we're reacting to the Falkirk Wheel. What is it? What's it for? And how did it come to be? And we got this from Scotland Unplugged. The link is in the description below. Show them some love. Like, comment, subscribe, and share.
All right.
Let's get into
this
it.
was
Go ahead.
Recommendation from Chris. And this is the world's only rotating boat lift. Yeah. So he recommended I watch it and I have to show you because it's fascinating.
Interesting. Okay.
Let's get into this one. Here we go. Right about now. If Sin can get to it.
This is a canal. This is another canal. But what if you want to join them together in the coolest way possible?
Welcome to Scotland Unplugged.
In the story of the Falkirk Wheel.
This is the Forth and Clyde Canal. It crosses right through the lowlands of Scotland at its slimmest point, connecting the west coast at the River Clyde to the River Forth on the east coast via the River Carron. It's 35 miles long and was constructed between 1768 and 1790 following an Act of Parliament. 22 years! But why? It meant seagoing vessels could cross between the two coasts without having to go all the way up and round the top, and what was, at best, a long diversion, and at worst, a bit risky. In short, it saved some rich people some cash. But
I love his accent. I'm like, it saves some rich people some cash. Okay? The accent, guys, I can't help myself. But that's a long time to build.
That is. In the distance, too. It's pretty far.
Yeah.
East to west. Yeah.
Can you imagine? But they cut out that trip. Instead of going all the way up and around.
Yeah. Just go.
It's a shorter trip going, just connecting. Listen, canal back in the days, though, to dig them. You have none of them kind of backhoe these things to dig stuff.
No.
They had to use shovel and dig it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the way
a lot of manpower? Yeah, lots.
Jesus.
all of this meant that the residents of Edinburgh were left out in the cold. I mean, literally, one of the big things transported was coal. It's cold enough there. This is the Union Canal. It's 31 miles long and took only 4 years to build. Things had moved on a bit in the world of canal construction. These were vast undertakings. Thousands of men literally dug their way from coast to coast through hills and glens like Robin Hood in a song. It's tricky though. Canals by their nature have to be level. Otherwise the water just drains away and you call it a river for about half an hour. Then it's just an empty trench. So you have to cut through hills, build embankments and aqueducts where the land drops away. And if you can't do that, you have to use locks, where you take your boat through some gates, shut off the water, lower the level, and then open the gate at the other side and float out at that level. It's simple, but it works.
That's cool.
I know, right?
Wow, that is so cool.
But but he said it's simple. It's a simple construction, but it work.
Yes.
Because I'm like, you open gate, you shut off the water, but you still have water in the lower level.
Yeah.
To take you, and you open the gate, and the water like push you to where you.
That's cool.
It's different, but interesting too at the same time. Because I'm like, this seems a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
But it's just a simple.
And he talked about how when they were doing it, had to be leveled. If not, it would dry up with time.
Can you
I'm like, that's true, because some rivers are literally like drying up here in the U.S. Yeah.
So it catch me, like you said, when I watched it, it said, if it don't, because the way they have to put the embankment, so the dirt have to drop off. It has to have this enclosement in order to stay. And then I'm like, it have to be leveled, but it makes sense. Because you can't be having canal dipping and doing all of that. It has to be. So I'm like, dang, can you imagine those workmen?
Yeah.
He said thousands.
No wonder it took so long. It makes sense. Like, wow.
The guys who built these were called inland navigators, or navvies. They worked hard. A good navvy could shift 20 tons of earth in a day. And it's reckoned they needed to consume between 6,000 and 10,000 calories a day just to keep moving. They obviously didn't have diggers or jackhammers or anything like that. Everything was done by hand with shovels. And if they couldn't do it that way, they used explosives. But a lot of them played hard too. They didn't have the best reputation, living in kind of filthy shanty towns by the side of the canal as it moved along. Probably the best known navvies are the celebrity serial killers, Burke and Hare, who worked on a section of the Union Canal here in Edinburgh, and somehow always managed to creep their way into my videos. This channel is obviously about history, and a big part of that is warfare. I talk about death a lot, but if you think war's rough, consider this. The going rate is thought to have been up to 2 deaths for every mile of canal. It was said that you were less likely to die serving in the British Army than you were working on the Manchester Ship Canal.
Can you imagine that?
Oh my goodness.
It was more harder to die in the army than actually.
Oh, wow. Than doing this. That is crazy.
Can you imagine that? That's how dangerous it was digging these canals for them.
Wow.
Because remember, sometimes they're putting dynamite and blowing this up, you know.
Oh, that makes sense. And all the chemicals they're inhaling, all that
or
stuff.
maybe you blow somebody up too. You never know.
That too.
Then maybe not standing far enough. It's just.
That makes sense. Because how could you die from doing that? But it makes all sense now with all the things that you listed.
Yeah.
All those chemicals, all those blowing up stuff, people not being cautious, you know.
And then they're digging in dirt. And then you don't know what you're going to pop into you.
That took 1,100 lives alone in its construction.
Wow.
There were explosives and heights and landslips to deal with. The Union Canal had to be joined to the Forth and Clyde Canal, but there's a bit of a problem. There's a 35-metre height difference. So you had to use locks, 11 of them. And that meant opening and closing 44 gates. Travelling through them took a day. In engineering terms, the canal
a whole day for you to get through it.
Wow.
Because that's 44 pieces of wood long you got to open. You know.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. It just shows you how we have to be appreciative of what we have, because all that work that went into this, that is like, and look how many lives it has changed because they built these canals and how many lives got lost.
You said something. It's crazy how we think alike.
Oh.
You know, that's what I said in my video when I watched this on my channel. Really? I said, guys, you need to be appreciative for what your ancestors did for you to have life this easy. And you just said the same thing, but worded it differently. But you're saying it's the exact thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, oh my God, she said the same thing. Yeah, because they went through a lot to give it to you. Yes. But can you imagine now, things have changed. Canals are not this. You don't have to do all of that work anymore. You get to enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Exactly.
And advance on that stuff, though.
Exactly.
Man.
Canals were a massive undertaking. But by the time this was finished, the technology was more or less obsolete. The skills used in making the canals and a lot of the men who made them had been redeployed to the railways. The Union Canal opened in 1822, and by 1842, the Edinburgh and Glasgow Railway was in operation. No one wanted to use canals as much. Then the car was invented, and then trucks. These canals just died off. The 11 locks fell out of use and into disrepair. And that was that, until it wasn't. Just along the Forth and Clyde, you'll find Duke and Baron, the Kelpies. The Kelpies, as you'll know if you saw the video I did on them, were mythical, malevolent, shape-shifting water horses. But these two also represent the history of the canals. So
it represents the history of the canals. So we're going to check the video out about this. Because when he said it, I'm like, I gotta check this out. But now you're fascinated too, so we gotta check it out.
Like, that is so cool.
I'm like, that's different.
It is. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It kind of broke my heart when he said that, like, yeah, we no longer use it.
No, that's not what he said.
No, that's me like abbreviating it. Basically, like it
has died out for a little bit.
Yeah, it's
because
not
trains to go over, cars and trucks.
We don't need to go through canals that much.
Yeah, because the work that they put in, like, all this work,
that's what I'm saying, all that work, life loss, all of that.
But no, there's the end. There's rainbow at the end of the tunnel on this one. You'll see. But I was like, oh no. But then I was like, oh, because that's where the lift comes in.
Oh.
Okay.
Horses that pulled the barges along these towpaths.
Yeah,
they're beautiful. And these days, they're appreciated for that. They're no longer necessary for transporting goods, but they're missed, romanticized. People love them. And it's the same for the canals. At the turn of the century, funding was secured for the Millennium Link to join all of this back up again. Mm-hmm. Now they're used for holidays, for walking, running, cycling. People even live on them. But 11 locks, opening and closing 44 lock gates. Bad enough if that's your job. But you wouldn't want to do it on holiday. That will...
Guys, I don't know if you guys can hear the airplane going overhead.
That is rude. I've never heard it ever go over your house. Oh, that's like
it's the first time you hear it?
Yeah. And you're like,
and all these years have been coming in. And the airport is just right there?
I never heard it go through your house. I wonder if this one came down a bit lower earlier.
Or maybe because it's extremely cloudy. And it's not even a huge one.
No, it's a small one.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry. We're just like...
Yeah, because you don't normally hear them going by. We'll see them, but you don't normally hear them. They're normally higher.
Yeah,
and even if they take off closer to the school. You don't really necessarily hear it over here.
Yeah. I would hear them all in my area, but not here. Jeez, that's the first.
Because you hear the military planes from that's why. Because you're closer to the base.
I am closer to the base. You hear the military vroom, and they're big.
Yeah, we used to those.
And they come so low. I'm like,
it's cute to look at, but
yeah, because that's a big. Yeah.
But I'm used to it. I'm used to going on there and looking at them, so it doesn't go. But I don't hear it, so it don't bother.
Yeah, you hear these ones,
guys. We digress. Sorry about the noise, though, guys. So we're gonna back up about 10 seconds. All right, here goes.
But 11 locks, opening and closing 44 lock gates. Bad enough if that's your job. But you wouldn't want to do it on holiday. No. That was a pain in the neck. So they needed a better solution. This is the world's only rotating boat lift. Essentially, the boat that wants to go up or down sails into the gondola at their end, and then they do a kind of a switcheroo. It does the work of the locks in 4 minutes. Each rotation uses 1.5 kilowatt hours of energy, roughly the same as it takes to boil 8 kettles.
That's it.
Wow, for that huge machine.
Exactly.
That is very efficient.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is. An energy use that is amazing.
That's wow. When he said that, like, that's it?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I was expecting more. But you notice how it rotates up and lock into place?
Yeah.
And what's at the top goes to the bottom, but the boats are sitting inside, and you notice not just one boat,
no,
two.
Like, yeah.
And I'm like, it has to have a balance. To me, I think there's equal weight. Whatever one is on one has to be on the other, because it has to be balanced out. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm like, it is pretty cool though, just the way it rotates with the shipping, and it's not swinging. It just going up and lock into place, and you get to shoot off on the canal.
And it takes about 4 minutes, which is nice.
See, it don't take forever.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, that's very amazing.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's mental.
It is mental.
The design's intended to be sculptural as well as functional, creating a living, flowing work of contemporary art that moves almost balletically through the air. With the lead architect using his daughter's Lego to model it out.
It is a big, beautiful lift. And coming here and standing on top of it and taking in the view will give you just that.
It is beautiful. You can't go around that, man. Look at this. This thing is massive. And to know that That's all it takes to rotate this thing. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I love every minute of this video. The ones that he's talking about with the horse, I'm going to check that out. We're going to check that out fully because I'm like, geez, your ways. They look different. And when they lit up,
Yes, I like it. It's very pretty.
yeah.
Very, very pretty. And I love how they also want to consider the horses.
Yeah.
Like,
because they did work.
Yeah,
they did a lot.
Yeah.
Because they did a lot for us either way. Any way you look at it. Horses before everything, the industrial age, horses were the and they still are. People love horses too. Maybe not for such heavy labor.
Yes.
But in some countries they still do. But yeah, this was pretty cool. Thank you, Chris, for recommending this one. And when I saw it, I'm like, Cynthia gotta see this because I think she's gonna like it.
It's very cool in the history behind it because I never would have known that's the history behind it. Never heard of a Falkirk Wheel. Never heard of it in my life.
Yeah. And I've never heard of a lift that actually lift boat, rotate and carry out boats. Yeah. Because it says the world's only.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I gotta look at this. Because I'm intrigued.
Have you done a video on the one about the Panama?
The canal?
Yeah, you've done that, right? I feel like you have
the tunnel, not the Panama.
There's something in Panama. It's like it's slipping my mind.
I don't know what you're talking about. She lost me there.
I had to look it up. I feel like you've done a video where you talked about doing it.
About the tunnel that from France?
It's in Panama. And I heard like everybody took time to build on it. The Panama something. It's slipping my mind.
I don't know what. I've never done anything like that, Cynthia.
I had to look at it. I don't know why it's in my mind right now.
I love you guys.
We love you guys.
I like how she corrects me every time. She's in her head. She's trying to figure something out. And she's not coming to her right now. So sometimes when you distract yourself, whatever you need or thinking kind of pop back in. So I'm like, be good, be kind, be safe, hit the like. It tells YouTube that you like the content that we're pushing over here. And don't forget to be good to yourself and love yourself and put a smile on your face.
Yep, and those around you.
What?
I always say, and those around you, put a smile on their face.
I think you said, and put a nose around it. That's what I heard. I keep telling you when you talk, sometimes I don't understand. I'm serious.
You know what? I think I understood that because there was this one guy, he spoke to me. He said a name, but he said it so bad. I'm like, what did you say? He said it, I'm like, what did you say? He said it, I'm like, what did you say? Because he was speaking so fast. I'm like, that's how I sound like sometimes when I speak so fast.
Yes,
it's English, but it's
that's you. Yeah, and then you tell me that's me. Yeah,
girl, and Pops, I can't hear nothing. Nothing.
Listen, we will sit here and chat and laugh like two decomposed.